every single entrepreneur who's building a business, it's tough. It's not easy. And it's quite likely that, all the people in this room, maybe the fact that they're in this room, maybe they've got past that stage, but
the failure rates are high.
A lot are going to fall flat on their face.
What is a business? A business is simply somebody coming up with an idea to make other people's lives better. That's all it is. And if you can come up with an idea to make other people's lives better, possibly through frustration, your own frustration with something you think, I'm frustrated by, why do they do it that way? And then you should say, okay, I should do it myself. I can do it better than they're doing it. And if you can have that screw it, let's do it mentality, just try things, keep trying things. And then ultimately, something will stick, something will work. And then once you've been able to build one entrepreneurial company, you can build any numbers of entrepreneurial companies. You also need to remember that companies is just all about people. I mean, if you find really good people who believe in your idea, and give them the freedom to go and excel, and you hopefully will have a really successful company, and be proud of what you're doing. So I think when you're setting up a new company, protecting the downside is very important. So with your first company, it's not always easy to protect the downside. So I must admit, I would mortgage everything with my first ventures. So, the houseboat, I would say to Joan, my girlfriend at the time, can you just sign here? Don't worry about it. So when you're building up your first business, in those days, there was no such thing as venture capitalists or people you could go and get money. So, everything, you somehow had to generate your own way of creating your business. But once we'd gone from, building a record company and it was now the most successful independent record label in the world. We just signed the Rolling Stones and Janet Jackson and so on. And I decided, the airline business is shite, and I'm sure that we can do it better. But I couldn't be sure that it would succeed, and I couldn't be sure that other people would agree with me. So the key was, in the negotiation with Boeing for the plane, was the right to hand it back to them at the end of the first 12 months if it didn't work out. And Boeing agreed to that. So I could then say to the team, the other teams at the record company, look, we're not going to put you out of business if the airline doesn't work. We can hand the plane back. It gives me 12 months to prove that, we can create a great airline. And as it turned out, at the end of the first 12 months, everybody loved Virgin Atlantic, and we got another couple of planes from Boeing. But the downside had been protected. And ever since then, any new business I do, I'll look at ways of protecting against absolute disaster. So, so Virgin, the group, we still own 100% of. And then we have subsidiary companies. And so, when we're going into space, it's a standalone subsidiary company, separate from the group, and Virgin Trains was a separate company, and so we can then bring other shareholders into those companies. And if God forbid anything went really wrong with any one individual company, it's not going to bring the rest of the group crashing down.
Has to be a really good listener, and I'm listening to fascinating people all the time, not famous people, just everybody has some expertise in something in life, and I get excited by so many new things.
I've seen leaders walk around their companies and talk to their staff and talk to their customers and not write things down. And I suspect, one day they most likely will have had 20 or 30 different little ideas, some big ideas. They'll only remember maybe one or two by the end of the day. You almost wonder whether they feel it's demeaning for them to be writing things down, slightly unhip. By writing things down, you can make sure that you get back. You deal if a staff member has an issue with something. You don't have to do it yourself, but you can send a note, delegate it, get it dealt with, and they will forever be grateful. But more importantly, most likely that issue is an issue that all your staff members have. So that's sorted it out for everybody, and in time you end up with like let's say with Virgin Atlantic. I mean, every single time I've taken a flight, and from 40 years back to now, I've always had the notebook with me, and like on one of the very, very first flights, I met somebody who'd come from Israel who was flying to New York, and he said, Richard, if you had the best kosher food on board, there are a whole group of us who fly regularly to and from New York, and we would only fly Virgin Atlantic because nobody else has good kosher food. And when I got back, I made absolutely certain that we had the best kosher food on board. And 40 years on, we have, I don't know, 50, 100 people on board who are always flying us because they know that we've got good kosher food. I mean, that's just one of thousands of little things that you just tick the box, and it can make the difference between a company surviving or not. But it also makes for an exceptional airline or an exceptional train company or exceptional cruise company rather than just an average company. And so I think leaders should be doing this all the time.
I think I touched upon it earlier, but I think it's really looking after your people in a real, genuine sense.
Sure.
So, if I take the Virgin Group headquarters in London, and we do this in a number of companies that we own 100% of. So. We say to our staff, if you want flexible working, that's fine. If you want to work from home, that's fine. If you want to work from home, Fridays and Mondays, that's fine. If you want to go off for 2 months sabbatical, you'll get paid. That's fine. Obviously we want people to get to do a productive job, but by treating people in an adult way, you get adult behavior back, and I think treating your people as you would treat your brothers and sisters. Some of you may be
some brothers and sisters.
But people who get on well with their brothers and sisters, I mean, or the way you treat your children, it should. The phrase "our business is a family" is so misused, but it should genuinely be a family. And if somebody is depressed or down, people should be told, go home for a couple of days, take some time off. It's just being a human company. Every single entrepreneur who's building a business, it's tough. It's not easy, and it's quite likely that of all the people in this room. Maybe the fact that they're in this room, maybe they've got past that stage, but
the failure rates are high.
A lot are going to fall flat on their face. Yeah. And I think the entrepreneurs I admire are the ones that pick themselves up and keep picking themselves up until they succeed.
Figure out how to get it done. Yeah.
But